All right, last but not least, my last thing. EPUB is great when you're making a book. Lots of text, images, maybe a video here and there. But magazine publishers want more. For less. Actually, no, they want more. They always want more. They want their magazines to look exactly like the magazine. They don't want a single column of text. They don't want just video. They want a complete interactive experience. And as you know, last year when the iPad came out, there was a lot of interest in putting magazines on it. And Wired magazine was one of the first ones that came to us and said, you gotta help me get there. And we did. But that was a year ago, and that was actually started off as a hand coding job, engineers working on a solution to get it done. And now that CS5.5 is here, it's all available for the rest of us mere mortals. So what we'll do is we'll go to this document, and this document actually is a standard InDesign document with no limitations on the layout. I don't have to think about columns, I don't have to think about things side by side or overlapping or things that are touching. I can lay things out any way I want to. Now you get down to this third page and there are two interactive elements on it. How do I make things interactive? I know in CS5 we gave you the ability to do animation, but how do I make buttons and things I can tap on a user can do in the publication? Well, the first one in the upper right-hand corner that says Connect to the Internet Hub, when I click on that, I can go to my new Overlay Creator panel. And the Overlay Creator panel will let you see all the things that you can do to make something interactive. In this case, it's using the web content view. And I can either, in this case, I can either grab a file that, for example, Greg output using Dreamweaver, HTML, and it will just load it in there. Or I can actually go out live to the internet, or when the user taps it, it will go out live to the internet and pull in that feed into that spot. And I can control all of that playback here. Great. What about this bike? Well, on the printed version, that might just be a static photo. But in the interactive version, if I go to my overlay creator again, it's an image sequence. And that image sequence is simply pointing to a folder of bikes, a folder of pictures, that the bike is taken at different angles. So rotate the bike, take a picture, rotate the bike, take a picture, until you get it all the way around. You have at least 30 pictures or more to get smooth rotation of the bike. You just simply point InDesign to that folder of images. Now that you've pointed InDesign to the folder, the next is just controlling playback. Will it autoplay when the user goes to the page? Will they tap to play? Will they swipe to swipe through it? How will they control it? You decide. All right, let's move down. Video, we already saw that. It's just a matter of making the video. Does it play full screen automatically or does it play in line? Simple choice. Slideshows. In CS5, we introduced the ability to have multiple objects in an object stack or object states. So here's the example of 5 photos that are perfectly stacked on top of each other and then combined into one object state. Now in CS5.5, I can turn that into an interactive object called a slideshow. That can either play when they tap it, they can swipe through it, I can have it do anything I want. It can loop, it can crossfade. You've been placing images in InDesign for 10 years. And those images can either be actual size, bigger or smaller, and if they're bigger than the frame, you can scale them down. Now we can take advantage of an image that's been scaled down to fit the frame and make it pan and zoom. You tap the image and the user can pan it, zoom in, and pan around the larger image inside the frame. Something that's not new in InDesign. Last but not least, on this document, another example of object states, but in this case, the pictures are grouped with the text. So each one, stop scrolling, each one is the picture and text, picture and text, picture and text. And what you might imagine is that each picture and text corresponds to something on the map. Those green dots on the map are simple images in InDesign or vectors that have been converted to buttons that actually switch to the different object states of the object. That's it. No coding. Sorry, Paul and Graham. And Serge, if you're still here. No coding. I just click, tap, done. Now, as you might imagine, that's great for the vertical version of the magazine, but what about the horizontal version. So let's go ahead and open. I think I have it here. There. So the horizontal version, if you want the user to be able to turn it, then you have to give them the version that they can turn it. All right, so in order for that to happen, let's go back. In order for that to happen, you have to lay out the horizontal version. So you build a vertical version, and then you just save as, turn it, and then tweak it to the horizontal version. And they don't have to be identical. For example, this is one photo of the girl on the bike facing that way, and the horizontal version, she's facing another way, different photo. So you go through each page and lay it out either exactly the same or tweak it to make it look better. Now that we have that, we can use the new folio builder to build our interactive document online and then view it on our iPad, iOS device, or Android tablet using the free Adobe Content Viewer. So if we can switch to the iPad. So I have 4 folios there. In the iPad, I'll switch in the upper right-hand corner, the Adobe Viewer. We'll launch that app. The Adobe Content Viewer is a free app on the App Store. And I can now go in and view a different version of the magazine. There's a different cover than we saw before. Swipe to the right to go to the next InDesign document, which is the next article. There's an ad. Swipe one more time to look at what we were just building. And again, horizontal or vertical switches layouts as I tilt the device. Now we go up and we do things that InDesign users can do without writing in code. Therefore, we can tap and get our internet feed. We can tap the bike and rotate it around with just my finger, swiping the bike, and it's just switching photos very smoothly. Play the video. It will play the video full screen in this case. Or tap to do the slideshow. Slides will just start playing. Pinch, zoom, zoom up in the photo, pan around in the photo, look at the photo larger, and last but not least, look at the maps. Just tapping the pinpoints to switch locations. And I did all that in InDesign. Okay. One more. You heard Greg talk about HTML5. You heard Serge and Paul talk about animation with Flash. Do I have 60 seconds to pull it all together? Yes? Yes. All right, here's the example. InDesign can do interactive content. Switch screens, please. So InDesign does interactive content. If I bring up my preview panel in InDesign, it loads an instance of the Flash player, and I can actually play that animation that I created right from InDesign. Very good. We did that in CS5. Now, I just simply copied that animation and pasted it into a new InDesign document. So, same animation with the logo and the plane, new document. Now, I go up to File, and instead of exporting that out as a SWIFT file and putting it directly on my website, I want to put it on my iPad. There's a problem though. I can't play that Flash file on my iPad. So let's do the next best thing. Let's go ahead and export it out as Flash. We'll create an FLA file, which Paul or Serge can open up as a Flash professional document. But once I do that export, which I'm not going to waste the time to do it now because I've already done it, I will then head over to labs.adobe.com. And when I head over to Labs, there is a technology preview of an application called Wallaby. So that's where you go get it. Once you get Wallaby and download it to your computer and launch it, you will then be able to browse and find your FLA file that you just created. So in this case, I'll grab this one I did yesterday. Now you'll say convert. And what it will convert it to is, once I tell it where, new folder, and we'll call this one Amsterdam. That way I'll know which one it is. It is converted, it's already done, gave me one warning, and the one warning is simply I used the blending mode that isn't supported. Great, no problem, but it's done. What did it convert that FLA from or to? HTML5. HTML5. Okay, so now I've got an HTML5 document. I want to put it on my iPad. There's a problem though. I can't play that Flash file on my iPad. So I go back to InDesign. I switch over to, see if I have it. Open it real quick. I switch to a different document that I want to use that on. Here we go. Nope, not that one. I'm going to go here. This is publishing. There we go. Odyssey. Cover stack. Vertical. And okay, so I just basically go in. I've already created one here. I'll delete it. Drag out a new frame. Using the overlay creator. Tell it that I want it to be web content. Go look for that file that we just exported in the Amsterdam folder and bring it in. And tell it to autoplay, maybe give it a delay of about 1.5 seconds or 1.25 seconds. Now it will play that animation automatically in HTML5. Let's switch to the iPad and take a look at it. So here I am, and I didn't have time to name it or do anything, so here it is. And I was does it too quickly the first time. There we go. Animation from InDesign in HTML5 back to InDesign out to the iPad, and now I'm done.
Cool.